Welcome, everyone. How are you? Welcome to QPAC Live, a program of the Queensborough Performing Arts Center on the campus of Queensborough Community College in Queens, New York. I'm Susan, and I'm happy that you're here with us. Now, I was just about to say it's welcome to Thursday. It's Thursday night. That's because we usually go live on Thursday. But this week, it's a special week, and many of us will be having turkey along with a lot of other goodies. So tonight, we're live. And we come to you live, and we have been coming to you live every week to celebrate the arts with programs that are unique and exciting. And tonight is no exception. I am so excited about having our special guest with us tonight. And you'll get a chance to get to know him and his band members and hear about how they went from being um, let's say men of all seasons to the modern gentleman. And you'll hear more about that in just a bit. Now, let me tell you why this is so exciting for us. It's because this is interactive. So, as you're watching the broadcast, if you'd like to make a comment or if you'd like to ask me a question or our guest a question, you can just go ahead and type in your questions right below the broadcast. We'll be able to see them and we'll be able to exchange some information with you. So that's what makes this medium so fun. I hope that everybody had a wonderful day today, and I hope that tonight sets the mood for the rest of the week. So, welcome. So, without further ado, I want to introduce to you this man of all seasons and now a true gentleman. And we'll tell you about that in just a bit. Please help me welcome Brian Brigham. Come on in, Brian.
Hello.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing okay. First, did I pronounce the name correct? Is it Brian Brigham or Brigham? How do we pronounce your name?
So no N, so it's Brigham, like Brigham Young University.
Brigham
So yeah,
Brigham,
Brigham.
Brian Brigham. So
That's
thank you
right.
for being with us tonight.
My pleasure.
Um, we have a lot of wonderful musical clips to show our viewers, but I want them to get to know you a little bit. And well, let's say this. Let's explain the intro, right? So you toured for it's got to be probably about a decade, right? With Frankie Valli as one of the four seasons.
That's right. Yeah. Actually, it was longer than a decade, so about a decade and a half almost. But yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so before we go there, tell me, where are you from originally, and when did you start singing?
I'm from West Covina, Southern California. So about an hour east of Los Angeles, born and raised. I started singing probably in junior high school, about sixth, seventh grade.
Well, what were you doing? Were you in chorus or was it a show? What was it?
Well, I was more into sports growing up, and the choir teacher came around to all the classrooms and was trying to recruit a boys' choir. So he kind of he coerced us to go to join the choir by saying, "I will take everybody on a field trip to Disneyland at the end of the year if you would join the choir." So that was my introduction into joining the choir, and so all the athletes joined the choir, and I was a lot better in choir than I was in sports. So that's kind of how it started for me.
Gee, that's so interesting. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the four seasons. So,
Mhm.
about a decade and a half, you toured with Frankie Valli. How did that happen?
Well, a few of us were working together at a theme park, as you do in Southern California, especially out of school. It's a great place to kind of hone your skills. So a lot of us were working at Universal Studios or Disneyland in different kind of groups, stage shows, and that sort of thing. And I was particularly singing in an a cappella group at the time. And there was a gentleman there that was singing with Frankie already. And this is, mind you, pre-Jersey Boys. So he wasn't working a whole lot at the time, and so my friend took another job, and there was another guy leaving as well. So a couple of us got referred to Frankie and his music director, and we went to one of those big cattle calls initially, and then from there on, we just kept making one cut after another until we were eventually at Frankie's house. So it was a
So
lot of fun.
we lost just the end of that until you eventually we're a
Oh,
little up there you are. We just lost the end of that until eventually what?
till we were all sitting around Frankie's piano. So we made one cut after another, and we got to sit around the piano with Frankie and sing and kind of talk and chat. And that was the day we a couple of us got to join.
So that is incredible. So did the four of you, of course, because there are four seasons,
Mhm.
did the four of you who now have been, performing together, first as the four seasons and now as the group, the Modern Gentlemen, did the four of you know each other before we're starting to before you began to work for Frankie, or is that when you got to know each other?
Well, I knew one guy really well because he's my brother. So I got to know him his whole life. My younger brother is in the group, and
The
then the
younger
two other
brother, okay.
guys. Yeah, so he's one of the
Mhm.
group members as well, Brandon. And Landon was working with me in that a cappella group at Disney. And then our fourth gentleman, Todd, was working at Universal Studios, and we knew of each other, but it was the first time that we were actually brought together as a quartet by Frankie.
That is so great. Listen, we have some shout outs. I always stop along the way and I check in with our viewers to see what's happening. You've got some shout outs. We've got uh let's see, Joy Johnson is
Oh,
here, and
hi,
she says,
Joy.
"Hey, Brian." Okay, so you have Joy, and hello, Brian from Gail. Seems like a lot of your fans are in the house tonight. How
Hi,
wonderful!
Gail. Nice
We've
to see
got
you.
Megan here from New York City.
All
So
right. Hi, Megan.
thank you, Megan, for tuning in. And Jennifer has chimed in, and we haven't even gotten this far yet. But Jennifer says, "So excited! I love the Modern Gentlemen. I've seen them in concert with Frankie Valli, and now on their own. They're the best, better than the other groups out there. Thank you,
Wow.
Jen. That's so great. So,
Thank you.
I
Wow.
think I mean now's probably a good time to say for the folks out there who have not seen these four fabulous vocalists perform live, they will be appearing at the Queensborough Performing Arts Center. All four of them. What was the date? I think it's Saturday night, May 14th.
That's right.
And May 14th. And this is
Mhm.
really very exciting because, of course, after the whole pandemic and so forth, it's been a struggle to reopen and to reschedule. We had the Modern Gentleman booked for quite some time. And then, right? And then we're like,
Yeah.
ups and but the goal was always to make sure to have you appear at the Queensborough Performing Arts Center as
Mm.
soon as we were able. So this was kind of a tricky time for us because not only did COVID shut us down, but the theater was in the middle of a major renovation when that happened. And so that got delayed about 8 months. But so Brian, when you come to the theater with the other Modern Gentlemen, you'll be appearing in a brand new,
Wow.
beautiful modern space. And so we're really excited about that. May 14th. And folks,
That's
tickets
right.
are going to go on sale very soon. So keep an eye. Now I have more questions for you. So now
Okay.
we know how it sort of all started. There you are sitting around the piano with Frankie Valli.
Hmm.
A little too freaky for me to even think about. Let's talk for a minute about what was it? What is it like working with a legend like Frankie Valli?
It was incredible. I mean, we were so young. A lot of us just right out of school. So, and we grew up. Specifically sang all the Four Seasons songs in school and choir and things. And the thing that caught me initially, and this is again before Jersey Boys, is I knew every single one of his songs. But I was raised on the West Coast, obviously, but I love that music. So it was just one song after another that I was singing in the auditions, and I know this song. Oh my God, that's the Four Seasons. And so I was learning the whole songbook as I was auditioning and doing the shows, and it was incredible to get to work alongside of him. And it's honestly because of Frankie that gave us that first kind of kick in the pants to start our own career. So we're all eternally grateful to him.
So you knew, I mean, it really is kind of crazy. I'll tell you the truth. I'm not terribly starstruck,
Was there a little
but
bit of a lag, I think?
there might have
Are we
been. Can
back
you hear
there?
me? Technical difficulties. Are you
I
there?
think I think I lost you for a second.
Am I back?
Mm.
Can you hear me?
It's starting to come back. It was delayed for a second. Sorry about the lag. I do
I think
now.
it may just be Wi-Fi. That's happened sometimes. Listen, this is live theater, whether it's actually in the theater or, this way, virtual. We're always dealing with technical issues. So hopefully you could hear me now. We'll just pause if that happens.
Hmm.
Um, Brian,
Yep.
it's so incredible. I was saying that I'm not terribly starstruck in general, but there are a few, right?
Hmm.
I mean, if you grew up listening to a performer's music your whole life, and then that performer is standing in front of you, I mean, and you're engaging with them, on a different level, that is a little freaky.
Hmm.
I mean, did it
Yeah.
take
I mean,
did
for
it take
me, with Frankie, I never really looked at him that way personally, but yeah.
did it were you never starstruck at
Sorry,
all?
I'm getting a lag again. I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. Take a minute.
Not with Frankie. I think the first moment where I was in awe was mainly when I saw Jersey Boys the first time after already working with him for several years. I think that was the first moment that I was like, wow, this man, this career, this group, all their accomplishments, and that's when it hit home. And I looked at him in a different light, possibly, but he was always that kind of father figure on the road to me, and just a friend and somebody that you could always talk music business with or any of that sort of thing. So I never really looked at him like that. Where I just looked at him as a mentor.
That's just so fabulous. Does um does Frankie, when you're all around and you're
I
sort of
think you're
working,
frozen again. I don't know what's going on here.
Brian, I think it may be your Wi-Fi. Can you hear me?
I do now. I think there's a delay or something. I apologize.
I don't apologize at all. This is what we have to sort of deal with, on this medium. So it's cool. You seem to be clear now. Um do
Yes.
when you're all sort of around the piano working out harmonies and things, does Frankie get involved in that? In other words, does he say, oh, I hear a great harmony, I'd love to hear you do that? Or does he let the musical director do that? And does he get involved? Does he say, oh, I hear a bad note? Does he do that?
Yeah, he's very hands-on. His favorite music growing up was Sinatra, the Hi-Lo's, Sarah Vaughan, all those jazz groups. And so for him, I think he always loved that kind of style of music. So when he found the four of us, and what we could do and what we brought to the show, he started, coming up with the idea for us to kind of approach some of those things in that old school kind of four freshman high-low kind of vocal style. So he initially said, "Let's work on some Sinatra stuff." And so he introduced us to a guy that did a lot of his arrangements from the '60s, a guy by the name of Artie Schreck, who arranged "Can't Take My Eyes Off You" and so many wonderful songs. And so he came up with these arrangements, and Frankie did the phrasing to them. And that's kind of initially how we started our journey as the Modern Gentleman.
Ah, so now I understand. So do you think, um and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but um do you think the Modern Gentleman, as the Four Seasons, do you think they sounded the same as the original Four Seasons, or do you think that you guys gave it a different twist? I would think that when you're doing something like that in concert, you would want it to sound sort of as close to the original as possible. How did you guys approach that?
Well, with all respect, it's very different, and they all played instruments. There was just the four of them initially with Frankie up
Right.
front with a three piece, and then when we came in, well, there's also the groups in the '70s that came before us too with those different styles, and I think they each had different sounds, but they kept true to the records they made. So if you came out with a new record, anything that we would approach or take on, Frankie would like, let's check the old record, and keep it kind of in that style, which we always were honored to do huge thing. But then we also had our own individuality a little bit. So with our sound, and that's kind of said what he said. Well, let's put that sound to the Sinatra stuff and give you a vehicle for that. But with the Four Seasons, we stuck to the harmonies. We did what we were told. So
That makes so much sense. We're going to ask you, Rosemary's here today, one of our favorite patrons, and she has a question, and then we're going to move on to some more modern gentleman information. So, Rosemary is asking, which Frankie Valli song evokes the greatest reaction from the audience? That's a great question, Rosemary. Which one do you feel is his signature song? Thank you, Rosemary.
ooh, signature song.
God.
Frankie would tell you he doesn't have a favorite. They're all like his children. How do you like one more than the other, or love one more than the other? But I think the one in our show for the first part of our question is when we do December '63. Oh, what a night! I think that gets everybody on their feet. Not to let the cat out of the bag, but it's our finale usually because it has that energy, and we love performing it so much. So that would
Mhm.
be my answer. Yeah.
Great. I love it. Absolutely love it. So, I want to talk a little bit about what it's like working with your brother.
Oh, family. It's good. You butt heads as brothers do, but we've been working together for so many years. Honestly, you can't find a better blend when you're singing with family members, other than guys that you've worked with for so many years. So it definitely helps in that vein. We're similar in a lot of ways, but we're also night and day in so many ways. But when we come together and sing, I just love that harmony that we do with the two of us, and as well as the other two guys. But it's great.
Growing, there really is something about families and who sing together and the blend of their voices. My sisters and I sang together growing up all the time, usually on long road trips. And, the only thing that we would sort of not really fight about, but it was who's going to do bass, who's going to do melody, who's going to do the harmony,
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
but yeah, then when those voices come together, there is something about siblings singing together that sort of creates a really beautiful natural tone. So that's kind of fun. And I understand that you had and you've explained Frankie's blessing to really move forward with the group, the Modern Gentlemen, to sort of go off on your own because you
Hmm.
had all these additional skills and preferences for jazz and these other types of music. And the Modern Gentleman, that gives you the vehicle for that. Is
Hmm.
that correct?
Yeah, he told us that we were the best singers that he has ever worked with, which that alone blows my mind. But he said nothing would give me more joy than to have success for you four. And the thing was, when we're working with Frankie, he would have a set tour schedule, and then we were starting to at a few years into our time still with Frankie do our own shows and started branching out with the Modern Gentlemen. So we would book a date, and then Frankie would book something just inevitably right in the middle of something that we would do. And obviously our commitment was to the group, and there was no substitutes, so we couldn't say, "Hey, I have a show," or "I have something going on." We were always there for every single show, pretty much all the time for our 15 years or so. So it got to the point where we almost had to take that leap of faith, where we had a lot of tour dates going on. We had some opportunities, and nobody's getting any younger, so we decided to talk about it as a group, and then we brought it up to Frankie and said, "This is kind of where we're feeling. We want to get your blessing. You're okay to do what we want to do." And he's been so supportive, and we still talk to him today. We call him all the time, and he's great guy, and love bouncing ideas off of him because he's been doing it for 60 plus years. It's unbelievable.
But it is hard bringing new people into an established act. When you have
Mm,
an established act, you have the routines, you have the choreography, you have the harmonies, you everything works so well. And
mhm,
it's hard to welcome in. I mean, there are a lot of talented singers out there, but when you have that blend, that when you mesh the way that the four of you do, it's hard to then bring in four new people to, and then have them wait it out until they find that that blend. So that must have been a little challenging, but how nice to have his blessing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That camaraderie is very hard to replace. So
Brian, who came up with the name the Modern Gentleman?
Um, I'd like to think I did. I mean, we all kind of came up with different names, and I think we all, kind of would pitch it to one another. But I think what stuck with that name was we come from a certain era, a certain kind of a period of music or a group that we kind of sang with, but we're younger guys, so we wanted that class of being gentlemen, and but have our kind of modern spin on things, and so it kind of just stuck, which I think suits us pretty well.
I think it does. And I think this is a perfect segue for our viewers to see the four of you in action. When you watch, first of all, see if you can guess who Brian's brother is, right? So that'll be fun. Let's not tell them. And
Right.
and you'll see how beautifully these four performers, how well they understand each other, and how beautifully they perform this music. So we're gonna let you watch these wonderful videos uninterrupted. Oh, I do want to say the audio might be slightly low, so I recommend turn up your volume. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Don't be afraid. Turn it up. Turn up your volume, and do enjoy these next few videos of the Modern Gentleman. And then we will be back to answer some more of your questions. I see they're coming in. Anthony wants to know, Brian, are you ever going to release that Sinatra CD?
That's a question for Frankie. It's done. It's on the shelf. We would love to. Believe us, we would.
All right. So then here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy, turn up your volume, enjoy the Modern Gentleman. Here we go.
All right, while you're having a little fun, we're going to keep it working with Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
How Deep Is Your Love? We hope you enjoy it out there. Know your eyes in the morning sun. I feel you touch me in the pouring rain. And the moment that you wander far from me, I wanna feel you in my arms again. And you come to me on a summer breeze, keep me warm in your love, then you softly leave. And it's me you need to show. How deep is your love? How deep is your love? I really mean to learn, 'cause we're living in a world of fools, breaking us down when they all should Put your loving hand out, baby. I'm begging. Begging you. Put your loving hand out, baby. Begging you.
Well, come on. Brian, come on in. All I just want to say that I was chair dancing this entire time. You know, I mean, ever since we've gone virtual, I've really mastered my chair dance. And I was
Right?
last time, I was right. I know that my viewers were out there. Rosemary, I know you were out there dancing in your chair. We've all mastered the chair dance. That was so exceptional, Brian.
Thank you so much. Thank
I
you.
can't wait. I can't wait for the four of you to be on the stage. The everybody is talking. Um, some folks already had tickets
Oh, okay.
from when you was, and so they just can't wait to sort of trade them in for their for the new seats. And others are talking about coming to see you, like Annette from New Jersey. Let me ask you this question. Um, have any of the four of you ever had to miss a performance? And what happens? I mean, is there someone there to jump in, or what happens in that case?
So, okay, yeah, we've missed shows with Frankie, emergency. So like Todd, it was the birth of his daughter. So he got a pass to go leave. And you know, time and that's for modern gentlemen. We occasionally things happen. We do have a guy that we use sometimes that is like a brother to us. He was also in the Four Seasons and knows the material really well. And you would never know if unless you know us like really really well. So he fits right in. So and he covers a couple different parts. But knock on wood, my brother and I have never missed a show yet. So, but yeah, that's
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 great.
it.
So I just missed it in the beginning when you had that one when Todd had to leave. Of course, he was he was having his baby was being born. Was there someone to fill in, or did you just do it as three that
Mhm.
night? Oh, there was.
We had another guy fill in. We've had two guys that have subbed in with our show a couple times that were both in the Four Seasons with us, and so it was just seamless to call them, quick little rehearsal, and they would join in with us. So yeah.
Brian, I mean, I know that I saw the four of you with Frankie at Westbury Music Fair. I don't like to
Oh
say
yeah.
that too loud there. Not that they're competition, but anyway, I saw you there. I think it could
Oh.
have been, well, it definitely was more than once. And
Mhm.
it may have been in the very early days. And so I've really watched the four of you go. You speak about how you started with Frankie. You were all very young. And I think I saw you
Mhm.
at that time, and I sort of watched you all sort of mature into these fabulous veterans. Um, and I think at that time you
Oh,
were
thank
all
you.
single. I think you were all single at that time. And are you all married now?
Yes, all four of us are married. And I remember Westbury really well. We always had so much fun. Theater in the Round for us was a lot of fun. Everywhere you look, there's somebody there. We
Yes.
have obviously a lot of wonderful memories there. But yes, we're all married now. Yep.
Amazing. And I know that I read that you've performed for presidents and British
Mhm.
royalty. Do you get really stressed out anymore, or is it just another day at the office?
It really depends on the situation. I mean, we try not to get stressed, but there's so many things that go into performing. Obviously, getting to the venue or just the logistics of everything can be a little challenging. But always, never when you're on stage. That's always the most fun part. That those 90 minutes or 2 hours or whatever are always the most fun.
That's so wonderful. I want to talk about your theater a little bit. You were in the national tour of Saturday Night Fever. Were you
Mhm.
were you familiar with the film and the songs before you auditioned for that?
Oh yeah, I've been a Travolta fan for a while, so I knew it. I researched it obviously too a lot more than going into the audition, and I really learned how to dance in that show. Before that, yeah, not so much, but that show is primarily a dance show. So it was probably the most challenging musical I've ever done.
Who choreographs for the Modern Gentleman?
Well, we do a little bit ourselves, just from being in the industry and knowing some moves and things. We also have one of the guys that would sub in with us. His wife is a phenomenal choreographer, and so she's done a lot of our stuff for us, and she's great. So
I love it. Can I get you to teach me the choreography for Beggin' when you come to the theater?
sure, sure, yeah,
I
that's like
love
that's
it.
a number one hit again. Can you believe it? That
Yes,
Maniskin or whatever. Yeah, they're like blowing up. It's unbelievable. So
it's a
yeah.
great I mean, it's a great piece. I mean,
Hmm.
it drives, you know what I mean? It's funky, it
Hmm.
drives. I wanna learn the choreography. Just
Sure.
saying,
Yeah, we'll teach
just
you.
saying. So, our viewers, I'm sure, do not know. You know, you have such a rich resume, and I want to make sure that I touch upon all these things. You sang with the bands with the stage bands for The Voice and American
Hmm.
Idol and America's Got Talent. I'd like to hear a little bit about that. I mean, how much rehearsal time? Well, explain to us a little bit about what that is. And because we've all watched those talent shows. So explain to us a little bit about what that is and how much rehearsal goes into you doing those shows.
Sure. Yeah. So that world primarily is what they call like the session world or studio world. So that path was open to me from working in studios. So when I'm not doing the Modern Gentleman, I do a lot of recording sessions where I'll sing on TV or films and movie scores and things of that nature. And so there's people called vocal contractors that kind of will call you for different jobs. And I was called to do a lot of the choirs or the background singing for American Idol. So there was 2 seasons where a friend of mine, he was also singing on Dancing with the Stars, and so he couldn't be in two places at once. So I sang in the house band for him, and we would I think I can't remember the schedule offhand. Typically, it was like a rehearsal on Tuesday with the contestants, and then we would film live to a studio audience on Thursdays. So I did that for 2 seasons, and it was a lot of fun. I love like this kind of because I read music, so I do a lot of sight singing, which is a lot of fun, and it's really challenging to say the least, depending on especially the different styles that they would do. So those typical calls would come into me for like singing for The Voice. I would be in a choir, America's Got Talent, and you would see us. You never really know it was me unless you know it was me. But we'd be in the choirs behind the actual contestants singing, kind of, especially as the season would go on, and they would make their cuts. It would be on like the 12 or that sort of thing. So you would see us kind of supporting that contestant and the show aspect of it. So it was a lot of fun, and I still get the calls here and there. So.
That's when the shows really get exciting because
Mhm.
then they take this, unknown performer and they put them in, fabulous outfits with a fabulous band and their own backup singers. And, they want to showcase them in the very best light. And that's when we, the audience, get to see, is this someone that we could really see having a solo career? So that is
Mhm.
so nice that you've gotten to do that. I absolutely love it. I'm just checking now. I see Brian. I saw you on Jimmy Kimmel the other night. You were amazing. What's that about? That's from Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. She's my biggest fan right now. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, I one of those calls. I got called last week to on a Monday to work Wednesday on Jimmy Kimmel last week. So he's quickly, I guess this little segment he's doing is called the silver lining of things. So he'll like read some like downer news, and he's like, "But it's okay. The lining singers are here." And a curtain would open, and we'd be in choir robes singing like positive about whatever the situation was. So we did that last week, and it was like apparently a big hit. So yeah, it was a lot of
It's
fun.
so is that, but they taped that in California.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
So we
great.
got the call Monday. You go in for like testing on Tuesday morning, and then Wednesday you film all day, and it was great. We did like a 4 minute skit with Jimmy, and yeah, I hope I can do that more. That was a lot of fun. I love like the comedy and live TV and singing. It's like my favorite of all three worlds.
Wow, that's so nice. And Annette says, I'll put her comment up here. Yes, we've seen them many times with Frankie Valli and as the Modern Gentlemen.
Oh,
Love their energy and their harmony is amazing. Thank you, Annette. We hope you join us in New York on
thanks,
May
Annette.
14th.
Thank
Um,
you.
Brian, I'm going to embarrass you now. Is your wife an entertainer?
No, she's like, well, no, she's not in the industry. She's what you would call like a social media influencer and things. So she's very good in this situation, in this little camera thing. So she's been doing it for a long time, but no, she's not.
May we share a picture of you and your wife?
Okay. Ooh.
So is that a good-looking couple or what? Just
Aw.
so yeah, just so beautiful, just so beautiful.
Yeah,
And
she ups my game, definitely.
that's nice. That's nice. And I want to just put up a picture of the I'm going to take you out for a second and I'm going to take myself out for a second of the Modern Gentlemen, and these are the four guys you'll be seeing at the theater on May 14th. So last question, if you don't mind, last question.
Oh,
Um,
last.
I know, is that horrible? Listen, folks, my viewers, now is your time. If you do have a question for Brian, throw it my way right now because time is running out. These interviews go so fast. Um, I got your Christmas CD at your show. Where can I buy more for the family?
Oh yeah, our website, themoderngentleman.net /music, or on our social media. We'll get right back to you at the Modern Gentleman.
And Brian, what's on the horizon for the Modern Gentleman?
Well, we just love recording. We just did a brand new Christmas CD during the pandemic last year, so it's not technically brand new, but we did it last year. So this is our second year of promoting it, which we're excited about. We have original songs on there, which is a lot of fun. Which is on the horizon for us, is doing more original material, something that we're really excited about. So we also have another CD we're working out, and that should be done hopefully in time for the show next year.
Brian, I want to thank you so much for taking this time. To our viewers, stick around because we have something special for you. Brian, we want to thank you. It was so much fun getting to
Yeah.
know you and getting to hear the inside stories of your time with Frankie and how the Modern Gentleman became to be. So thank you for being so candid and for spending this time with us. I do want to say to our viewers, if at all possible, Giving Tuesday is right around the corner, and that's the day you give back to nonprofits, to the nonprofits that say something to you, that speak to your heart. So if we're one of those fortunate organizations that you'd like to see thrive, do consider making a donation to us anytime over the next few days. We have put the donation link, and we'll do it again right now in the comments section so that you have that. Rosemary says, yes, Miss Rosemary. Let's see. Susan and Brian, thank
Oh,
you for such an interesting and entertaining evening. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Rosemary.
same
And
to you.
now, as a special treat for all of our guests, we're going to play for you that song that Brian mentioned earlier. Is the one that gets everybody up and dancing. We're going to show you December 1963, Oh, What a Night, with the Modern Gentleman and Frankie Valli. We hope you enjoy it. Brian, thank you again.
Thank
Had
you
a
so much.
can't wait,
Yeah,
can't wait until
we
your
can't
time with
either.
us
Thank you.
this
Happy
coming year.
Thanksgiving. Thanks, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. Stick around. Here we go.